been working on doing a very succinct chain of custody. So at every point, we know where medications are. And that is a huge interest to pharmacies because insurance for pharmacies is out of control. Now, if you can assure a chain of custody from point A to point B, their insurance is drastically reduced. Hence, it's a profit-winning opportunity for everyone.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 283. What do we need to know to deliver medical supplies via drone? For that question, we turn to Pharns Genece, CEO and founder of Unmanned Systems Operations Group. Unmanned Systems Operations Group is a pioneering logistics solutions company specializing in unmanned systems and secure drone delivery missions. The company's autonomous systems are integrated with a next-generation electric delivery truck, which features a control center for an unmanned aerial vehicle operator and an auto launch and recovery system located on the vehicle's rooftop. Phans is a former US Air Force Medevac with 18 years experience as a highly trained flight nurse, certified to administer critical and emergency care for patients during flight rescue operations. Formerly an audio engineer and technical lead at the Walt Disney Company in Anaheim, California, Phans' interest in unmanned aerial vehicles goes back many years. He has integrated and flown numerous UAV platforms. He is a graduate of the MiraCosta College UAV ROV Operators and Technicians program, an FAA Part 107 remote pilot, holds an FAA Daylight Waiver for night operations, and is a top certified pilot and a member of the FAA Safety Team. Phans has combined his medical and technical skills with a passion for UAVs and founded Unmanned Systems Operations Group. The company recently embarked on a pilot project to deliver prescriptions from a pharmacy to customers at home. In this episode of the Drone Radio Show, Phans talks about Unmanned Systems Operations Group, the exciting new drone delivery pilot project, and the future of drone delivery. But before we hear from Phans, I want to thank those of you who are supporting my funding campaign. Whether it's $1, $100, or much more, you can help defray the cost of production and keep the podcast going and growing. Go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And by the way, if you have an idea for a great show and want to share your experience, please contact me at randy@droneradioshow.com. So let's learn how one company plans to deliver prescriptions using drones with Pharns Genece of Unmanned Systems Operations Group. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Phans to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Pharns Genece. I'm the CEO and founder of Unmanned Systems Operations Group, otherwise known as USOG.
Phans, tell us about USOG. What is your primary business?
One would say that we are a aeromedical logistics company delivering medical assets, but truly to the core of it, we are a systems integrations company.
So a systems integration company, how does that relate to a medical supply delivery and air systems integration company? Let's start with the air systems integration part. What would that mean to us?
What that actually means is the whole idea started with aeromedical logistics and being able to deliver medical assets as blood samples, medications, and any life-saving medical necessities was to be delivered by drone. And in order to achieve such a lofty goal, quickly I found that it takes a team effort. And the drone is not the only technology involved. And as I looked to achieve this goal, I found numerous other companies that had bits and pieces of what I needed to put an entire system together. And soon I found myself integrating, adapting, adopting different technologies into the one goal. And that kind of goes along with our mission statement. Our goal is to, number one, save lives and public safety. And as this all progressed, we found that We were truly integrating multiple systems from multiple entities to achieve our goal.
In addition to the drone, what are some of the systems that you're bringing together?
One of our integrations right now that we're working closely and our partner is Valkyrie. And Valkyrie has, for lack of a better term, the drone mailbox. We've teamed up with them to bring their system into our eco. And we've taken what they've started and we're really helping them refine it to really be a useful tool in part of what we're trying to do. Not only just that's the mailbox, but the communication between the drone and the mailbox, the pre and post mission software that allows not only the package to be delivered in the most appropriate way, but securely and to the right individual. And that's one of our integrations. This morning, we just got off a phone call with Valkyrie, and we saw another opportunity to increase the value of what we were doing. And we were online with a third entity. I can't disclose that as of yet, but it really is a game changer by integrating this additional entity into what we're doing.
Do you have another example?
Yeah, we closely work with local manufacturers and local producers of multiple different things. In our backyard, we have not only Plank Aero Systems, but we also have Modal AI who make flight controllers. And we've utilized some of their flight controllers and their systems to do some of the things that we're embarking on. One of them is with GPS. Not everywhere will have GPS for you to navigate. And in those GPS denied areas, we still have to navigate accurately to wherever we're going. And so they have a built-in visual positioning type system in their flight controller, and we're utilizing their platform. And then the software to make that really, really come together is coming from another entity. So there's a lot of companies coming together that I've been pulling from to really integrate to make what happen.
When you approach these types of engagements, do you design for each one differently? Or are you looking to create a system that will work for all situations?
We're looking for a synergistic fit. So my overall vision of what I'm trying to build, everybody fits in strategically to what their specialty is. And it works together as one whole symbiotic unit. Even though we have many parts, it's one whole unit. It's just like building an engine. You have the block. Somebody makes the piston, somebody else makes the air filter, somebody else makes the spark plugs, but they all come together to make that engine, and that engine runs as best as possible. And that's kind of what I'm doing.
Is the service already in operation?
We have our initial client, which is Sort Pack Pharmacy, and they deliver pharmaceuticals in a very unique blister roll pack type of packaging, which is really cool. And we're starting a pilot program with them. And we'll be actually doing visual line of sight deliveries on the onset in order to really flesh out the system and to make sure that it works accurately. Other people have done deliveries, but it's mostly on campuses and open places that it's not real world. But we've really taken it to the next level where we're actually doing stuff real world in real neighborhoods.
Is the pilot project here in the United States or in another country?
We're here locally in the United States, in Southern California. And what we've done is we've gone to the local mayor, the police chief, the neighborhood, and we've really educated everyone down to the recipients on exactly what we're doing. Because what we found in the industry and in general with drones, every time someone sees a drone, or if there's a news story with a drone, it's typically negative and there's a peeping Tom kind of issue, and that's the perception. And so what we're trying to do is really educate everybody on what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, so everybody's aware, and then it alleviates that paranoia of everybody spying on me.
What's the problem that you're trying to solve for them?
Distribution, especially now in COVID, because traffic is congested and sometimes it takes longer to deliver a package via just a regular courier versus a drone. We're able to assist and help in alleviating those steps. And these are maintenance medications, by the way. And these are a pilot program type situation, but the real value in it is when we are able to do BVLOS. Per se, if we have somebody who has been bitten by a snake up in the mountain area or something, typically what will happen is you'll have your EMS unit come in, assess the patient, bring him to the local hospital, and from the local hospital, typically they do not have an antivenom. Then you got to medevac that patient to another hospital, and then the medication is there, and they'll do the whole treatment. Now the family's there at the new hospital. You got to bring the patients at the new hospital. You have to bring the family in, and it costs a lot of money for the insurance companies. Whereas if you were to take that same incident, the EMS took the individual directly to the local hospital, and then we were able to fly in the vaccine or antivenom by drone, then you've alleviated the cost of medevacing that patient to a new hospital, transporting family, and a bunch of other issues and a bunch of other costs. So in the end, it's a cost-saving measure. And also the other thing is a chain of custody. We've been working on doing a very succinct chain of custody. So at every point, we know where medications are. And that is a huge interest to pharmacies because insurance for pharmacies is out of control. Now, if you can assure a chain of custody from point A to point B, their insurance is drastically reduced. Hence, it's a profit-winning opportunity for everyone.
In this particular case, will the deliveries come from the pharmacy directly to the doorstep?
Yes. What will happen is in this particular scenario, we have a mobile operations command center where we can launch and recover drones from our vehicle. And what we'll be doing is we'll be collecting the medication directly from the pharmacy or the warehouse, bringing that to our command center, and then from the command center via drone, delivering directly to the house. Currently, it's the front lawn, and we'll be there to make sure it arrives, the whole 9 yards. And then we'll be stepping up to implementing the Valkyrie box directly in the neighborhood and what have you.
Can you go into some detail on the actual steps? How does it work from the time the prescription is ordered to the customer receives it?
Obviously, there's a prescription. Once that prescription is filled, we have a back-end piece of software that we're fleshing out and utilizing, a logistics piece of software. That information comes directly to us. Once we receive that information is parsed out through an API directly to our flight management software. We'll go ahead and receive it, and that information will be prepared and ready to be loaded on board the drone. Now, physically, with the actual packages, what happens is we'll scan the package and we'll scan the position in the drone that it goes in to verify is the correct package.
Excuse me, before you continue, is the drone on site at the pharmacy, or does the package have to be taken to another place?
Currently, we are at the pharmacy. We pick it up, we scan it, we track it from the minute it leaves the pharmacy to it when it arrives at our mobile operations command center, our truck. Then we scan it from that onto the drone. And then when it arrives and it's scanned into the drone, the client gets a notification via a app on their cell phone that the package is going to arrive, and we launch the mission.
What about the path that the drone will take?
What we do is we pre-program the mission so it is the most minimally invasive. It does not fly over people. We don't want to fly over cars or anything like that. If we find that we're going to be in a neighborhood that we may need to shut down the street for 5 minutes to make sure the delivery goes, we'll obtain permits to make sure that, okay, for between this window, we'll have the opportunity to have our visual observers and our ground observers be out front with stop signs, stop traffic for the moment, let the delivery occur, and then we let traffic come on through. What we're trying to do is mitigate any chance of anything happening. Even though we know that the drone's safe, we're flying safe, we're doing everything, you just never know. So we take every single precaution to make sure that nobody is anywhere near, so anything can't happen to anybody.
Is the ultimate goal to fly without visual observers or the need to track the drone?
Eventually. The industry is so new, and we want to really test out its efficacy, and we want to really prove to the FAA that we can do this, and we can do it safely. And the key word is safely. We don't spare any expense when it comes to safety. the first and last thing we do is safety. And I don't know how I can stress this enough. It's all about safety, safety, safety. So even though we are in a denser environment, we take even more precautions than one would in an open field or a test ground.
How long will the pilot project last?
We're looking at a 6-month project to go ahead and launch it and test it out, spread our legs a little bit, and then we'll come back and reevaluate and go through the lessons learned, do a final report, and gear it towards not only what's the best practices for not only us, but hopefully the entire industry. Also, what are the key advantages for the pharmacy? What needs to be improved on? All those key metrics.
Has the project started yet?
We haven't officially started the pilot, but we have done a couple of COVID drops, kind of that pre-run, the run-up to the actual program. So we're really taking the time to methodically do all this.
What did you learn from those initial runs?
A couple of things. Number one, Google Maps is not always accurate. Where there is no tree, there could have been a tree growing. So, those on-the-fly rerouting of missions and things like that, that's one of the things. And I think the other thing we really learned was when we were out there and we had already gone to the neighborhood, not everybody got the memo that we were going to be there. A lot of people came out to see what we were doing. And at first glance, it looked like people were kind of upset. What are you doing here? What's going on? Are you guys spying on me? But we found that was not the case at all. It was a level of curiosity that was just absolutely wonderful. It was a great opportunity for us to be ambassadors for the industry, to explain what we do, what are the advantages. And when people understood why we were there and what we were doing, it just made them more curious and more interested in what we were all about. Those of us that are in the industry, we have a tendency to forget that not everybody has seen a drone. Not everybody's flown a drone. We take it for granted because we're around it all the time. So we have to remember as this industry progresses that we are truly the ambassadors for the industry. And then it's okay if people ask you a question. And it's very important to always have a visual observer and a ground observer with you. Because as you're flying, invariably, somebody's going to want to come and talk to you. You want to have somebody else that can handle the situation while you safely land your drone and then address whatever it is that they want you to address.
Besides delivering medical supplies, are there other situations where you see your system being used?
Absolutely. The medical side of things came out of my passion for medicine and saving lives. I spent 18 years in the military flying Medevac. And so my medical background had a real influence on that. We found that by developing a system that works succinctly and accurately, it lends itself to multiple other industries and multiple configurations of what we're doing. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we're working on is we're working with a company that has properties worldwide. I mean, like 10 to 15,000 different properties worldwide. And what they're looking to do is do a micro distribution centers with hubs, like a hub and spoke kind of configuration. And we're working with them along with Valkyrie. I mean, see how synergistic this is? Everything that we're doing, it's ourselves, Valkyrie, this other entity who owns all these properties, and they're looking to have us prove the use case of these micro distribution hubs, that the Valkyrie boxes can be there and we could ferry in between them. And that lends itself to numerous other scenarios, not only on land, maybe offshore and things like that. It also allows us the opportunity to get involved with local schools. MiraCosta College here in Southern California, they have a drone ROV program that I came out of, and they utilize our Mobile Operations Command Center. The concepts and the things that we're working on now, we're able to relay to them, and it allows them to make their program better for everybody. And to have drone operators that come out of a program that are more well-rounded and more versed in what's actually happening today.
One of my previous guests, Desi Eckstein, leads a class in drone safety at MiraCosta.
Matter of fact, I was a student of Desi's. Yes, I was.
So you were one of her graduates.
Yeah, I came in with a little different view of the industry than most students. over 6.5 years ago, I think it was a science magazine or something, I saw my first drone and I was just floored and I had to have one. And being the geek that I am and the electronics nerd, I ordered all the parts from China, and it literally took about a month and a half to get the parts to me. Then it took me another 2.5 months researching on forums and blogs on how to put this thing together. And this was before DJI was even a thing. And it was right at the precipice of when 3DR was getting started. And that's when I built my first drone. And from that point on, I was hooked. So by the time I got to Desi's class, I'd already been flying. I'd built my couple of drones. I purchased a DJI. But the breadth of knowledge that I learned from Desi and in that program really allowed me to begin networking in the industry and try to find my niche and see where I was going. My experience with the military as being an aircrew member, all that came into play here because all the SOPs, all the vernacular and the things that we did in the military, a lot of that applies with what I'm doing with the drones, and then having a medical background as well. So all those things in my life really came to play. And I think one of the biggest things that really allowed me to take this and turn it into an integrations company is I was with the Walt Disney Company for quite a number of years, a stage tech / audio engineer. And we did nothing but systems integrations, everything from audio, video, and lighting and mechanicals and I mean, just all kinds of integrations. And being in that wonderful playground with some of the most amazing, talented technicians I've ever worked with really got my mind around the concept of integrating systems. And that's really, really helped me.
When did the idea surface that you wanted to start a drone-based business?
Actually, it was during Desi's class. They had showed us a video of Zipline at the time and how Zipline was using RC aircraft to drop parachutes of medications and what have you, supplies in Africa. And I found that to be just, amazing and just fascinating work. And then I think it was a couple of days later, I was on the 5 freeway and I was just stuck in traffic going nowhere fast. And in front of me was a LabQuest man. And that LabQuest man was going nowhere as well. And I was thinking to myself, how many samples, how many blood samples, how many vials of blood, how many just anything medical is sitting in that van just expiring? It was mind-boggling because I come from a medical background. I understood the necessity of getting those samples to a lab quickly. And I was just like, man, if I had a drone, I could avoid all this. And it was right then at that moment that it just hit me in the head. I'm like, I haven't moved nothing but 5 inches in the last 10 minutes. And the drone could have been 10 miles down the road in the last 8 minutes. And that's really when it hit me.
Do you have a business background?
Yeah, I grew up in business. My dad was an entrepreneur pretty much all my life. Helped him run his businesses. I've had my own small businesses here and there. And I think all those experiences together have really shaped what I'm doing now. And I think the biggest lesson learned, and this goes out to all you entrepreneurs out there, my biggest lesson learned is you have to bring the right team together. Not only just as in having the different talents that you need, but also the personalities. When you start a business and you start a company, it's like picking and building your own family.
Yeah, that's always a challenge in itself.
Yeah. Having a couple of siblings that I love dearly. Families fight. It is what it is. But when you pick the right family, and I think I've chosen wisely, and we take our time deliberately to add anybody to our family, it's really served me well because I think it's been only about a year and a half that we've been in business. We've covered a lot of ground in a short period of time, and I couldn't imagine it happening without the team that I have in place.
What has surprised you about starting and running this business?
I think one of the things that has really, really surprised me is that I consider myself just a normal guy, just going after it and enjoying what I'm doing. But, it just floors me when, oh, you're a drone expert. You're this, you're that. I'm like, no, I'm just a regular guy. So that blows my mind when I say that, when I hear anything like that. And I think the biggest surprise is, we're in a brand new industry. It's the Wild West, and I'm helping pave the way. And that's been really a surprise. I've had the opportunity to speak to the California State Legislature and other individuals that are really key in enacting law when it comes to drones. I'm surprised that I'm doing that currently. And I think the coolest surprise has been how beautiful, warm, and welcoming and amazing the entire drone community has been. I think right now where we're at, there is no competition. It's more co-opetition. Everybody has been so willing to work together to bring an industry that works for everybody. It's been beautiful.
Can we talk about the regulatory challenges? How have they impacted the service? And more importantly, how have you worked within the regulations?
That's the biggest thing, is regulatory wise. And I understand the reluctance to let everybody just fly freely and hey, everybody go BVLOS. I get it. I really understand. It's safety, safety, safety. I understand that. Being an aircrew member in the Air Force, being one that has flown single engine aircraft myself, it's all about safety. And I understand. Are they slow to move? Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And the fact that they are moving slowly, succinctly, and concise, and I've seen tremendous leaps and bounds by the FAA. Trust me, I've watched things happen that I never thought would happen. We will get there. It's a challenge, but that's why we're here. We're blazing a trail. We need to prove to the FAA that we can do this safely. And not only the FAA, you have to understand that interstate commerce and transportation is also handled by the Department of Transportation, the DOT. So there are rules and regulations that we need to abide by with them as well. So it's kind of incumbent upon us to follow the rules. And if they don't apply, then we need to help them understand how and why they don't apply. And for us to lobby and to continue to keep an open dialogue to make them understand why and how things should change and why they should change in such a way that makes sense and safely for everybody.
In addition to the pilot project, what else is on the horizon?
Here's what's coming up. Number one, we're working with Valkyrie in their mailbox, which is fun. We have an entity that we spoke to this morning that will really blow the lid off of it's really going to progress everything in drones, what they're doing. USOG has a couple of patents already in the pipe, and one of them will be releasing soon to everybody. And as soon as that happens, everybody will know. And we're looking at, between the technology that we're bringing forward and the technology that we're dealing with the entity that we spoke to today, we'll go from an efficiency of what we currently know as drone operations to 10 to 15x. And I'm really excited about that. We also have multiple opportunities to help municipalities in some of the work they're doing. Because of COVID, a lot of those funds kind of dried up. But at the same time, other municipalities are looking to go, hey, we can't afford to do anything with you directly, but how can you consult and help us? Absolutely. We're more than happy to do that. We're also looking at working with a Part 135 courier already, and we're trying to figure out how that's going to work into our future operations. And we're excited to see where that goes. We're working locally with the MiraCosta College and their students. Actually, our latest hire is from that program as well that I graduated from. So we're interacting with the community. We're also looking to give back through STEM and STEAM projects and programs. And then I just recently joined the FAA Safety Team, and hopefully we'll be doing a lot with them and just really trying to preach the gospel of safety, actually, because that's really what we want, is we want everybody to fly, enjoy flying, and flying safe.
Quite a bit of stuff going on.
Yeah, well, we're just trying to keep busy. And honestly, let me tell you, it's not just me. It's my team. I have a great team. Mark Costco, Jeff Simons, Jennifer Quinn, Houston Lear. Those are the main ones right now. Gloria Lopez. They're all just great people, and everybody has their niche. And we're just trying to make the world a little better every day.
Is there anything that we missed that we should talk about?
If we just save one life, I've won. I mean, game over. I've won. I've done what I needed to do. But if we can do more than that, I'm more than happy to do that. And I really want to make sure that everybody stays safe out there. These are trying times. I'm really lucky right now that things are going well. And I understand that in a minute it could be, completely different. So it's with great gratitude that I wake up every morning and I have a team that I could work with that's on the same path as I am to hopefully make some of my crazy, wild dreams come true.
And for my final question, Phans, what message would you like to leave regarding the future of the drone industry?
Drones are here. There's been a federal mandate to integrate them into our airspace. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think with everybody who's already flying drones, anybody in the industry, please take the time to educate those who are curious. You are the ambassador. You are the future of drones. We have just only begun. If any of you are old enough to remember pagers, we're kind of in that pager stage that came before the brick we used to call a cell phone, to the StarTech, which was based off of Star Trek, to the phones that we have in our hands today. And that's where we're at. We're at the very, very beginning of this. And it's incumbent upon all of us, to really be the ambassador, to fly safe, to do your due diligence when you're out there flying, and really be the ambassador and be the standard bearer for what's happening.
That's it for episode 283 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Pharns Genece of Unmanned Systems Operations Group. I want to thank Phans for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about Unmanned Systems Operations Group or want to connect with Phans, check out the webpage at usog.us. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1, you can help defray the cost of production. To donate, go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.